on the Pack a Day podcast YouTube page. I'm coming to you after a crazy 20-19 Packers win over the Bears. Came down to a last second field goal. A last second field goal in which Carl Brooks got the very tip of his finger on that ball to block it and allow the Packers to escape Soldier Field with a win. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I was nervous coming into this game. I understood 10 straight against the Bears at that point, now 11 straight. But things were going so bad for the Bears, so bad for the Bears. They fired their offensive coordinator. So I figured coming into this game, they would be playing a bit more inspired football. And indeed they did. This Bears offense, for the most part, they were doing what they had to do. I mean, they had a time of possession advantage over the Packers. They had the ball for a little bit over 36 minutes, while the Packers only had it for a little bit over 23 minutes. The Bears ran 68 total plays, while the Packers only ran 43. You saw a lot of mistakes across the board, especially on the defense, but the Packers special teams came through to seal the victory for this team. And who would have thought? Who would have thought special teams would be the unit to help the Packers come out with a win? But listen, I got to say, shout out to Christian Watson. 4 receptions, 150 yards. Every single one of those receptions was at a time when the Packers desperately needed it. Picked up some big yards. It's a career high for Watson as well. But this was the Josh Jacobs game. 76 rushing yards, a little bit over 4 yards per carry with that average. 58 receiving yards. Josh Jacobs had 134 yards from scrimmage in this game. There's a lot of Josh Jacobs, and he is part of the reason why the Packers won this game. He was fantastic on offense. So shout out to Jacobs, shout out to Watson. They really did a lot of the heavy lifting offensively. And this is a game, like I mentioned, I said the Packers escaped. And I say they escaped this game because it's a game where we saw the Packers on 2 different red zone opportunities walk out empty-handed. Bears have one of the best red zone defense in the league, and you saw it in full effect. They had a little graphic pop-up showing coming into the game, and the Packers were 29th in red zone offense. So it was a battle between a strength and a weakness of 2 teams, and the Bears' strength overwhelmed the Packers at times there. You had the Jordan Love interception where he threw it a little bit too high to Tucker Kraft. Looked like a pass that Tucker might have been able to grab if he continued going up for it. It looked like partway through him jumping up for the ball, he might have thought someone was behind him. So he kind of short-armed it thereafter. But yet and still, it was still an overthrow from Jordan Love. It wasn't a bad decision turnover from Love. It was a bad interception from Jordan Love. Those I can live with a little bit better than the bad decision ones that he can make. So again, that brings him up to 11 interceptions on the season now. Not great. But I thought his decision-making process in this game was a lot better, even though he had that one bomb to Christian Watson in double coverage. That was one of those ones where you were just like, yo, I didn't expect that to get through, but sometimes you got to throw it up or you got to make an opportunity on the ball. And Watson, again, made the most of his opportunities in this game. Also was a game where the defense just didn't force any turnovers. The Packers lost the turnover battle in this game, actually on the back of that Jordan Love interception. A lot of missed tackles from the defense in this game, bad pursuit angles. Caleb Williams himself kept them in the game with his legs, especially in the first half. He already had a career high in rushing yards in the first half of the game once he crossed that 60 rushing yards threshold. And again, he kept them alive in this game a lot of the time. And you also saw Jair Alexander not make it the full game, which was disappointing. The Packers weren't getting much pass rush up front outside of the last drive for the Bears, where the Packers kicked the door open with 2 back-to-back sacks, only rushing 4. You saw the Packers bring 5, 6, sometimes even 7 guys on pressures trying to get to Caleb, a Bears team that has been bad in the pass rush. We saw Caleb get sacked 9 times against the Patriots last week. So thought we would see a little bit more from the Packers pass rush, but they did show up at the end on that last drive. Although those last 2 sacks that I mentioned on that drive, which set up a 3rd and 19, then led to straight back-to-back Rome Odunze catches, allowed them to convert. They marched the ball down the field to set up that field goal that they eventually missed. So again, for the defense, there are some things to clean up. I have some worries for this defense if Jair Alexander is not healthy going forward. Cornerback was a position going into the season where I was a little iffy on it. Didn't really know about the depth of it, counting a lot on Eric Stokes to come back healthy and productive, counting a lot on Valentine, Nixon to be in the right place to make the right plays. Saw it getting taken advantage of a bit in this game. So hopefully Jair Alexander is healthy going forward. He's a big part of this Packers secondary. They really do need him. But like Matt LaFleur said, you never apologize for winning. You never apologize for winning, even in this game where it had my heart beating. I thought it was an L. Next thing you know, there's a block field goal and the Packers walk out with a win. 7-3. 7-3 the Packers are now, and that's a lot better than when they were last year at this time. 4-6 after 10 games. Still the youngest team in the NFL. Still so much room to grow. But again, you see the talent. You see the potential. Need to see them work over the next few weeks as this season is winding down and actually I should say ramping up into the postseason. See them really starting to put it together. I'll also be keeping an eye just on the defense and the edge containment. That was a sore spot for this team, especially in the first half. First game for the Packers without Preston Smith, somebody who was seeing his snap count drop anyways, but he was one of the vets on this team. So I was looking to see how the Packers responded in this game. Some things left to be desired. So again, a lot more for this team to work on. But hey, there's a lot more for them to work on coming out of a win. I've said that a few times so far this season. It is always so much better to have to be working through things after a win than it is after a loss. So especially when you see the Lions just dominating teams, you got to try to keep pace in the North, and the Packers did so with this win over the Bears. Make sure y'all keep it locked in the Pack a Day podcast for so much more analysis. There's so much more to dive into from this game that I can't get to in a quick, short gut reaction on how I'm feeling after, again, the Packers escape with the win. I'm happy they did it though, y'all. So let me know how you're feeling in the comments going forward. Some things that you're going to be keeping an eye on through the second half of the season for the Packers. And as always, let's go Pack, go baby.